Hey everybody, this is month 12. It's your last month that you've just picked up for our Katie Ombre $5 quilt. It's exciting. I think the ombre fabrics were some of my favorite that we've ever done, and I love the way the blocks came out, and we'll be posting some pictures and suggestions on how you can finish things as you go. When you visit this Katie store, if you sneak into the classroom, there's lots of options in there also of quilts that have been made out of $5 quilt blocks. So we're going to make a couple of announcements and then we'll get into the block. First of all, what's next? We've just finished. Many of you have already signed up for doing this next year. It's become very obvious that we are not going to be able to meet in a large group probably till sometime early next year. And so to keep everybody safe, we're going to follow very closely and see when they let things open. What we will do is continue $5 quilt, and we will have you come in and pick up your blocks. We will continue to do videos like this, so at your own leisure you can watch it, but I'm also learning to work with the Zoom program so that if you want to do something interactive and be able to ask questions, we'll have certain times that you can sign up and you can come join us live and ask your questions and kind of see what we're doing. So watch the announcements for that. And I'm sure many of you have kind of heard the color options, but we have, believe it or not, all the fabric has arrived. I can't believe it got here on time. We're not last minute. I have picked out a pre-designed block of the month program. So this month, the great news is there will be 13 blocks, so you get a bonus block. You don't have to pay for the 13th block. And you get a finishing instructions if you want to finish it the way that it's been done. Okay, so that's exciting. I'm not going to call it a downside. The difference this year is the blocks will be 9 inches versus 12. No big deal there. They're a lot of fun. They're unique. They're not like blocks we've done before. If you're really set on having 12-inch blocks, it's very easy to add a 1-inch border all the way around. Actually 1.5-inch border, and you will end up with what you need, and then you can finish them from there. So not a big deal. I want to show you some of the samples of the fabrics. So the first one we're going to talk about is Allison Glass. So Allison Glass has something called Sun Prints, and this print she has in at least 6 different colors. So each month one of the colors of this print will be in the block. They're bright, they're vibrant, they have lots of color. Getting a glare. All right. This one is going to be one of, there will be multiple what I call background fabrics or light fabrics, but this will be the majority one. Lots of fun, just a tad of color in there. And then this will be this will be, for example, a coordinate that goes with this month. So you can see that the main print has a little pink in it, and we will pull a pink. Pull a pink to go with it. Okay, so lots of mixing and matching here, lots of fabrics that will be repeated, and I think this one's going to be really exciting and fun. All right, now we have never done a reproduction one before. So Edita Sitar is with Andover Fabrics, and she does these beautiful reproduction prints. And so this is going to be the main print that you see, and this will be in every block. It pulls in all of the colors that we got. Then this will be there. This program does have one background fabric that shows up a lot. This is going to be the background. Isn't that beautiful? There will be others, but this will be the main one. And then the coordinates will all blend. You have the pink and blues and golds. And this is an example of one of the coordinates that goes with it. So this one's going to be really fun and should reach those of you who like reproductions. And then kind of a middle of the road and fun and happy group, we went with Amanda's Murphy's Crescendo. So this is going to be the main fabric, and you can see the great bright colors in there and fun little prints. So this will be in every block. Wait till you see this one. This will be the main background print. or the neutral, and look how fun that swirl is. So that will be in every block. And then we have a couple of examples of the coordinating fabrics. So this is one of the purples. And then we also have, they look like raindrops, one of the raindrop fabrics that has a bunch of colors. So this one's going to be a little softer than Allison Glass and much more printy. It's got lots of motion and prints and different things in it. So we start that next month, and so we will have the first kits available for you next month. And when you come in, you'll pay to join the club. Everybody needs to bring $10. We don't take any prepayments. You'll get your first block, and we will do another video like this, and you will get started. I think you're going to really like these blocks. They're very different from what we've done before. So any questions, let us know. Sign-ups, all we're taking now is your preferred day, that if we were to get back into classes, would it be Thursday, Friday, or Saturday? We don't know what times are going to look like until we are told that it's safe to go ahead and have classes again. So that's where we stand with that. Good news. All right, Swiss Miss in July. Right now, Bernina has this huge sale going on. And what's fun about Swiss Miss in July is that for every machine on here that you buy, this is a list of gift with purchases. So it's just like Christmas. You get the machine and more. And there is a whole bunch of things that come with that. And there's special pricing. But wait, there's more. There's also financing. So this is a huge time to be able to take advantage of a lot of the Christmas. And a lot of times these specials will continue at Christmas. Well, you'll see them again at Christmas time, but you can get it now and be doing all of your Christmas projects now and not have to wait. So great deal. Probably this time of the year is one of the best deals that you can get. So we have that going on. Bernina University is happening virtually this year, where you don't get to go and get together. That will happen this second week of August, and so we'll probably have lots more announcements then. But they are introducing a jet threaded serger. Yay! And we should have one in each store soon. They'll be shipping them out soon, and you can come see what's all new and great about the new jet threaded sergers. Okay? Baby Lock, our Baby Lock Tech is also going to be virtual. It's at the end of the month. I don't know if I can announce there's 3 new machines coming yet. There's 3 new machines coming, and we'll talk more about that when I have the green light that we can start discussing them. So we have that going too. All right, lots to talk about today. We're going to start the block. This is month 12, and this block was designed because many times, and this is a big quilt to show, but we do quilts that are what are called on point. So when you look at this, all of the blocks going across look like they're on point, like a diamond. And many people look at that and think, because we're conditioned to think we're sewing rows this way, and you're looking going, well, how do you get those triangles in? Actually, on point quilts, your rows are sewn this way, okay? You can see that. They're sewn this way. And so what you're doing is for every row you sew, you get a triangle top and bottom, which will then at the very end, you end up with a giant triangle that finishes off the quilt. So this block is a mini version of doing this. And I did this block on purpose so you can kind of get an idea of how an on-point quilt goes together. So let's look at the cutting. When we look at the ombre, it's pretty straightforward. You need 2 4 3/4 inch squares from the light, 2 4 3/4 inch squares from the medium, and 2 4 3/4 inch squares from the dark. So get your strip, find where you like those pieces, and cut your strips. Okay? Pretty straightforward. On the background fabric, I did this so you could see. You have a piece that is 17 some odd long, and you have it going this way almost 8 inches. It's actually 9 inches. So it's 9 by 17 and a half essentially. So you're going to cut a 7 3/8 inch square out of the end of that. You'll cut 2 4-inch squares and then 1 4 3/4 inch square. So you can see you've got lots of extra fabric going there, and we'll go with that. Now that big 7 3/8 inch square, you're going to cut on both diagonals. So we're going to cut it this way and we're going to cut it this way. And those will be the large triangles that are going to be what we call setting triangles that go in to the inside of this block. You're going to take the 2 4-inch squares and you're going to cut them on one diagonal. Okay, so you end up with these triangles. So essentially you'll end up with a big and a little triangle. Now there's a big difference between these. So when we do on-point quilts, when we're looking at this outside edge, our goal is to have straight of grain fabric on the outside edge. So the outside edges of the blocks aren't all stretchy and getting distorted while you're trying to sew borders and binding on. To accomplish that is why we've cut the triangles the way we have. When I cut this triangle on both diagonals, this is the part that's going to be on the outside of the quilt, and because of the way I cut them, that is straight of grain. Okay, so when you see that, if I cut this outside edge is straight of grain, so it's not going to have the stretch. If I put this or this on the outside, it would be super stretchy. When I cut one in half, as you know, for half square triangles, the stretchy side is the diagonal side. Well, that's the side we're going to sew at the end. So the two straight of grain edges are going to be on the outside of the block. So when we get done with this block, we will have on grain fabric all the way around the outside. So when you're doing a large quilt on point, oftentimes they're going to tell you to cut a very large square and cut it on both diagonals. And that's going to be what these big setting triangles are that you see right here. Now sometimes the square has to be so big we can't do that, and so there are other ways that they'll tell you to cut that. But ultimately what you really want is this outside edge to be straight of grain if possible. Okay? Saying that, let's talk about assembling the block. The first thing I have you do is assemble the center row. And the very first thing we're going to do, which is super easy, well, before I do that, we have to sew the strips together. Okay, so we're going to go light, medium, and dark on all 4 sets of strips. Now, taking 4 3/4 and dividing it by 3 does not give you a pretty number. So I had you cut these slightly bigger, and when you get done sewing them, you are going to have to take your square ruler and measure, and you're going to trim just a little bit off of each side. The way I did it was I trimmed 1/8 of an inch off one and then measured from there over to 4 3/4, and it was close to 1/8. It might, depending on your sewing, it might be a little less, might be a little more, but you want to check that, and this should measure 4 3/4. Then we're going to sew that, this, and this together, giving you this center strip. Okay? Now remember, this is actually going to go in the block so that it's at an angle. So to finish this, so it will sew in properly, we need to sew 2 of the small triangles on one on each end. To align this so that you know you're getting it sewn in the right place, you're going to find the center, and I didn't do anything super fancy. I folded this in half, lined up my seams, I did a light crease, and then I put this triangle down so that the point was on that fold. I pinned it and sewed it across so that I knew I had it centered. So you're going to do the same thing with this other side. So this piece, when we are done, and my board's a little, it's hard white on white, when you are done with this piece, it will look kind of funny because you have 2 triangles on the end of a strip. Now we have to make the 2 other sides. So for those sides, you are going to take, let me fold this back. You're going to take your big triangles Now, remember, this is going to be on the inside, so you need to have the flat part of your triangle lining up with the dark part of your strip. And when you put those right sides together, you're going to actually align the bottoms. So you don't have to figure out where the center is. You're going to align the bottoms, okay? And you're going to sew this triangle on and press this up. Then you go to the opposite side and do the same thing. Line up the bottom, sew this triangle on, and press up. Now, this part that sticks out is called a wing. That's part of your seam allowance. I leave those on until I get everything trimmed, just because it's easier for me. I may need a little of that fabric when it comes down to it. Now, so now you're going to have this pretty funny shape with these two triangles on each side. Now you're going to take the small triangle and you're going to again find the center of your block, put your point on that center, and you're going to sew the flat side all the way across. And remember, this is a bias edge, so be careful with that. And you're going to get the butterfly wings at each corner. Ideally, if your seam allowance is good, your sewing will be coming out right where those two things intersect. Okay? That's not a big deal, don't worry about it. Then you're going to press that up. Now we have this giant triangle. Okay? The trick here now is that, and it's not really a trick, we are going to place this on one side of our center strip. And how do you know where to match it? Well, guess what? You've got seams to match here. So you're going to put it right sides together and you're going to match these two seams. And then you're going to take this down and you're going to pin in both directions. And when you sew this on, again, you're going to have your wings at both ends. And when you flip it open, you will then have one side of your square done. Okay? Lined up a little bit. Then I didn't sew the other one, you're going to put the other one here, and when you're done, your block is actually, this is going to be the top, and then you'll have the four sides, and your block will actually have this in the center at the top. Now if you put it in your quilt, if you do sew your quilt on point, this is going to be what it looks like. So it's pretty in either direction. Okay. That was a pretty quick way to go through that, but I think the instructions are pretty good. If you have any questions, you can always call us. And the trickiest part, I think, of this whole block is after you sew those three strips together, trimming that down so it's even on both sides, how much you take off in the 4 3/4. So that's your month 12. We hope we'll start seeing you bring some finished quilts in soon. The ombre is just such a pretty fabric. I almost hate to leave it, but I am excited about doing the designer series because I think it's going to be fun, and I love the block of the month we picked out to do it with. So I think you're going to enjoy it a lot. Michelle, have I forgotten anything?
I don't know. We'll get some pictures of the finished blocks and put those up too.
Yep, I have those. Deborah sent those to me yesterday, so we'll get the finished blocks posted. And I wish you, this is July, very hot days of summer, dog days of summer, stay cool. And I will see you, if not before, in August for $5 quilt month 1.